I'm tired of adult protagonists being written like children and children being written like adults.
Oh, for real? The smell's burned itself into my nostrils.
I think about money when I can't sleep, which makes falling asleep even harder.
Kaiju number 8 has been extremely painful to sit through. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the setting of this anime. A huge chunk of the characters are a blast to watch grow and develop on screen, and the fight scenes have honestly been exhilarating, but there's still something holding me back from actually looking forward to watching more episodes of this anime every week. Kofka Habino is the worst part of Kaiju number 8, and that's kind of a big problem considering the fact that he's the main character. I genuinely cannot understand why the author of Kaiju number 8, Nayo Matsumoto, decided to make Kofka 32 years old in both the manga and anime when he's written like he's 12.
That might actually make it worse. Your face was all over the news earlier! Oh, I swear I've got this, sir! Let go of me! This is mortifying!
What an undeniably massive waste of potential. A lot of people, including myself, was looking forward to finally getting a main character that we were able to relate to again.
How did I wind up on this side of everything? Damn.
Kofka seemed dissatisfied with life in the trailer for Kaiju number 8. He was portrayed to be a man who felt like he missed out on his dreams, and we were also led to believe that he hated his job, when in reality he's just another cliched run-of-the-mill anime protagonist, except this one smokes. This is fascinatingly the opposite of what happened with Chainsawman last year. Denji is 16, but he was written to be such a mature and introspective character during the first season that he felt like he was well past his 20s. Kofka's origin story was also handled about as well as you'd expect for a character that's designed to be unable to stop cracking jokes every 10 seconds. While in contrast, Denji's origin story was impressively crafted to be one of the most compelling aspects of Chainsawman on a whole. Now, I'm not opposed to main characters having a sense of humor in general, but moderation is key when it comes to attempting to sell us on a universe with such a brutal atmosphere, like the one that Kaiju number 8 plans on expanding upon. That's why I thought that it'd be appropriate to compare Kofka with Denji, because Chainsawman has its fair share of great silly moments. Set in a universe where monsters of all shapes and sizes called kaiju regularly cause disasters, Kaiju number 8 opens with a stronger than average kaiju called a Honju appearing and wreaking havoc in Japan, before it's quickly defeated by the anti-kaiju defense force. Right off the bat, I'm going to admit that the opening theme of this show and its visuals are peak. It's a song called Abyss by Youngblood, and while I've unironically been listening to it on repeat for weeks while I worked on this video, it doesn't fit with this show at all, but that's a rant for later on. After the shortened opening featured in episode 1 to reduce spoilers, we're introduced to Kofka Habino, a 32-year-old who works as a kaiju carcass cleaner. We learn that his job essentially begins the moment that the job of the anti-kaiju defense force ends. Much to Kafka's disappointment, of course, because he's always dreamed of joining the defense force ever since he was a kid. A new young recruit who also aspires to join the anti-kaiju defense force someday, named Reno Ichikawa, befriends Kofka and becomes the first person in years to encourage him to not give up on his ambitions. This, combined with the fact that Kofka soon learns that he'd still be eligible to apply for the anti-kaiju defense force, ignites him with hopeful passion, until tragedy strikes when an incredibly sneaky weaker kaiju called a Yoju attempts to attack Reno but fails thanks to Kofka's quick thinking. After Kofka and Reno's brush with death, the two friends decide to reflect on their lives while in the hospital, and suddenly out of nowhere, a mysterious parasitic kaiju brutally forces its way into Kofka's mouth, transforming Kofka into a human kaiju hybrid. Alright, there's a lot here that just doesn't work. Right off the bat, it's been established that Kofka was chosen by this random parasitic kaiju to become a hybrid. And for those of you who's been wondering, yes, I have read the manga. And for those of you who have not read the manga, no, fans of Kaiju number 8 still don't know why Kofka was chosen to be a kaiju. There's a ton of theories from fans, sure, but if we're being honest, with the way that the manga has been going, I seriously doubt that unraveling the mysteries behind Kofka's infuriating origins is at the top of the list of questions that will get answered anytime soon. Kofka, without any training, masters his kaiju form the moment that he unlocks his powers, and as a writing decision, this doesn't make any sense. Why purposely fraud the one chance for the audience to grow closer to Kafka and sympathize with him by having an arc where he struggles to adapt to this new normal? The opening theme song of the show is literally about somebody who loses control over themselves and begs to be contained for their sins. Imagine for a moment if Kaiju number 8 used its setup to its full potential and Kafka during his first transformation destroyed a neighborhood or something. Not only would the opening theme song actually make sense, but then we'd actually have a reason to be invested in Kafka's journey. Because as it is, Kafka is just a guy who can summon a stronger than average Power Ranger suit.
Red is the perfect one, black is the brooding bad boy, green is the clown, and yellow, well, she's the girl. So what are you supposed to be?
I'm Scottish!
Denji is a teenager who was cheated out of having a normal childhood. Enslaved by poverty, he was forced into working off his deceased father's debt to the Yakuza by hunting mysterious entities that inhabit the planet called devils. All Denji really had to his name was his best friend Pochita, also known as the Chainsaw Devil. While Kafka would fantasize about joining one of the most elite and well-known groups in history, Denji would find himself too depressed to fantasize about much of anything for more than a few days. Being betrayed by the Yakuza, Denji would be killed off by them in the name of a zombie devil, but Pochita would intervene in order for him to make a contract with Denji, merging with his body and becoming one of the most powerful devil-human hybrids under the condition that Denji discovers what his dream truly is and ultimately achieves it.
Currently, I'm into Denji-type boys.
Dude, that's me.
Our boy Denji isn't above cracking jokes, but again, it's all in moderation, which is why it doesn't clash with the scenes when the show actually does want to slow down and have a serious moment. Denji struggles to understand what he'd actually want to pursue in his life. He goes from obsessing over the thought of grabbing a woman's chest to longing for something a lot more intimate and fulfilling. Denji is a far more dynamic and interesting character than Kafka, when it should seriously be the other way around. When Kafka transforms into a kaiju for the first time, he doesn't have any reaction to the circumstances behind how he gained this ability. He doesn't even seem to realize the fact that he can transform into a kaiju in itself should be a game changer. This man doesn't think to question where his powers really came from, whether they'd come at a cost, or if there were other people out there who have similar abilities. Kafka's true goal isn't only joining the anti-kaiju defense force, he also desperately wants to be seen as cooler than his childhood friend Mina Ashiro. I'm going to be honest, the more we discuss kaiju number 8, the more I'm struggling to find a legitimate reason to stay invested in this anime's insanely bland main character. Kafka is unironically one of the most immature shonen protagonists that I've had the misfortune of watching in years. And that only makes the choice to write him into behaving like a literal child yet be over 30 feel even more confusing. Now, I hope you guys can at least understand where I'm coming from when I say that I'm tired of adult protagonists being written like children and children being written like adults. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and please consider subscribing. You're also going to love this next video where we discuss why redeeming Omni-Man would be an incredibly bad idea. Thanks for watching, take care.